માઇક ઓન આ વિડિયો સ્ટાર્ટ
ના વિડિયો બંધ રાખો માઇક ચાલુ રાખો એટલે આ કુલ આવે છે કે વિડિયો આ બસ એક્ઝેક્ટલી આવું હોય તો શું કરે તું મને એ કરવા દે
અચ્છા ત્રિકોણ છે તેની પર દબાવો
ખાલી અડવાનું કે દબાવવાનું
હા એટલે મતલબ અડવાનું હા ટચ કરવાનું તે
અચ્છા તો માં જુદું આવતું ફૂલ
એ તમે ઉપર હજી 3 ટપકા પર હજી ટેપ કરો 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 તે
હા તો આવો અચ્છા આટલું જીણું જ બોલતો
હવે આનો કઈ હા
કોના વિચાર સારું ઓકે આપણે
શું પ્રિસાઇઝલી કરી શકીએ ને
ઓકે હવે ટાઈમ થઈ ગયો છે સ્ટાર્ટ so today we'll start our fourth session and I hope that the screen is visible to all and today I will be able to display something. So the first thing which I would like to talk about comparison of choices and also relationship between various variables. Which variable we should select in a study to compare to find out our result, etc. So I think I'm audible. Right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So let me start with a simple example of so many PG students are confronting that which subject specialty I should take. Or sometimes there are many variables in your study also. Which two variables you should compare? So this table I am showing. First, let us start with which specialty I should choose. So in that case, what you should do that there are list out all the specialty, medicine, then surgery, then comes pediatric, then OG. So this is how you go on writing. Same specialty, you should write here over here: medicine, surgery, pediatric, OG, maybe orthopedic. Because when you have around 10, 20, 25 specialty to compare, it will be relatively difficult for you to choose which one. So there are various methods by which you should arrive at the result. The same thing when you want to do intervention. Any problem?
No.
So I think I'm trying very hard, so no disturbance. So what will happen that this you should remove. So if you have 20 specialty, then 20 into 20 is equal to 400. 400 cells will be there. I think some of you, can you see this 400 or you can't see? In your screen, can you see this 400?
Yes, sir, we can see.
Yes, sir, we can see, sir.
Okay. Now, this 400, you minus 20. Because this 20 cells, 1, 2, 3, they will be the same. So you remove, so it will be 380. Now, this is a mirror image. So you need not write anything over here. Right? So divided by 2, 190. So there are 190 cells you need to think over for 190 times. Your brain need to work that whether I want to take this or that like that. If there are 20 specialty. But if you are clear that out of this 20, definitely I don't want to take this 5, then you have 15. If you are clear that this 10 you don't want to take, then you have 10 to select. Suppose I tell you that if you have 10 variables to select one out of that, So how many times you will have to think for each cell? How many cells you need to think over? If there are 10, like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So how many times so thinking will means medicine and surgery. Which subject I like most? I try to compare. Comparison between two is much better than comparing between four at a time. So let's say I like medicine. I will write medicine. Then I say medicine and pediatric, which I like most. In that, let's say I like pediatrics. Then pediatrics, the medicine and OG. Then I say medicine. Then medicine and ortho, I say medicine. This way, then next time will be surgery and pediatrics, surgery and OG. I go on doing this. And then I can count which are the most selected things. This is how one selection could be done. So I'm asking a question. If you have 10 specialty in mind, in this case, 5 specialty in mind, how many you need to do? You can, if you count the cells, how many cells are there? 5 by 5 tables. So these are the cells which you need to think over and do it. How many cells? Can anybody tell me? Say this is 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right?
Yes,
How,
yes,
how,
sir.
how we can arrive at the 10? It is like this.
25 minus 10, 20.
Yes, you are right.
Yes,
So
sir.
it is 5. So we'll say that 5 into 5 is 25.
25
25
and
minus 5
minus 5,
is
20
20 divided by 2.
by
So 10
10.
cells. So
Yes.
similarly, if you have 10 cells, 10 into 10, that is 100. 100 minus 10, there's a 90. 90 divided by 2, 45 cells you need to think over. So whenever you have the choices in your life, you can compare like this. There's one method. Comparing only two, that makes the thing easier. In which city you would like to stay, or which, suppose there are 5 freeze or 10 company in the freeze, you can compare like this. And other method is, you prepare a scoring system, right? In scoring system, what do? That more the score means more the choice, like that. You decide something in the mind. Suppose medicine, first thing would be how many patient I will get. So more the patient you will get, you write down 10, or you write down less, 1, 2, like this. In medicine, naturally, I think I will get more patient. I say 8. Surgery, less likely surgery because people go to super, so it's only 3. Pediatric, of course, I will get more, so 5. This you think yourself that how many patients I will get, which branch gets most many patients. Also nowadays, extent is increasing, so it will be more than the surgery. Then you write 6. So this is a number of the cases what you are likely to get, number of cases. Second thing, investment. If there is a list investment, you give more score because that is more favorable. Medicine, hardly you get the investment, so you take a
Investment.
surgery, you get a lot of investment, so you give a low score. Pediatric, again, not much. And then OG, you need to spend a lot of, but not maybe as in the surgery, or is almost equal. Ortho also same. So then the आपकी नींद, you want to have a peaceful life. Don't want to have emergencies. So less the emergency, more the marks. Right. In medicine, emergency is likely. So
So one.
yeah.
Yes.
You want to ask any question?
So more the emergency, less will be the marks.
You want to have a less emergencies. That
Yeah.
is your choice, for
Okay.
example, right?
Okay.
Then lesser the emergency, more the marks. In surgery, there will be more emergency compared to the medicine. In orthopedic, also same thing. OG also same. But in pediatric, yes, it could be, but compare. So you need to use your brain, which will have more emergencies, right? So I think the most emergencies most is likely in the OG, because anytime it keeps you on the toes. Although emergency may be less, but even simple normal delivery also keep you on the toes. So you may give a less mark to this, 3 marks. Pediatric comparatively less, so also only also 3 marks, or it may be a 4 marks, because in is a gynec hospital is only pediatrics. Surgery may be around the only 3 marks. Medicine, cardiac problem will be there, otherwise less than surgery. So you can keep a 5 marks like this. Then earning, where you will earn more money, like so the government, the medical legal problem, where it will be more, whether you are dependent on the team or not, so many so forth. You can decide, and at the end you make a total. And by making the total, then you can decide which branch you should take. Similarly, for intervention purpose, you can have a number of methods, etc., or causative agents. Also, you can use this. Which one is more likely to occur? In case of microbiology, you have various kind of bacteria over here and various kind of specimen, which is the most common organism for which. So there's an n number of possibility, but my idea is to try to use this tabular format for the purpose of the comparison. And now, because of the computer, even n by n table is not a difficult. 10 by 10 table is possible. So you can use your Excel and try to do this. Any question on this?
No.
Okay, now let's move further. There is something like intuition also. Say, these are two methods we talked about, 1-to-1 and this. But at the end, when person does a meditation for 10 or 15 minutes, or maybe a 30 minutes, if possible, 3 to 4 days. And then when you are at the peace, without any stress, without any constraints, and ask your conscience that which branch which appeals the most, right? Sometimes that may be the answer. So combining this three, you will get the answer. So this is how we can have a various choices in comparison. Now we shall be moving towards the one game I probably talked about the why and so what. This game, if you are a PG teacher, you should definitely ask the students to play this game. It is simple but very effective. Let's see that. Now, in this case, why and so what, right? So in this case, in the center, you take one problem. And that problem, let me ask you, just tell me any health, the problem or any health, a name of any disease which you would like to select for your project. And there it is very interesting. At least most of you will not be able to reach a figure of the level of 5. But even if you reach a level of 3, that will be good enough. So, any problem? Can you suggest that?
Sir, in pediatrics, night blindness under the age of 5 years.
It's very difficult to detect, but still let us slide night blindness. Right? Any problem you take over here. And then you start asking a question. This is a level 1. Why? This is a first level. And so what? So what? There is also level 1, right? And the question, you answer the why over here. The first one, why night blindness? Which are almost directly creating to the night blindness. That's 1 or 2 or 3 points you can take. And then, so what? That can also be, you can find 3 points you can write. Then there will be a second the question why and etc. So night blindness, I think is because of mostly vitamin A deficiency. So you write vitamin A deficiency. Other cause could be some kind of retinitis pigmentosa could also be there, or there may be some kind of the genetic or sometimes uh, there could be a edema somewhere in the retinal, and that there's maybe leading to night blindness. And this is a, you are say pediatrics, or in case of pregnant woman, there may be hormonal changes leading to night blindness. So right now we take only vitamin A deficiency, for example. So another, you ask the question why? Why? This is level 2. And so the results of vitamin A deficiency, you can find out maybe because of diarrhea, maybe because of measles, maybe because of poor diet, maybe because of poor intake of the fat, like this, right? Now, the next question over here, why? Why diarrhea? Then there will be a reason why measles, why poor diet, why infect. For example, all four. So for poor diet, you can have the further this is a third level. We are asking the question why poor diet. Then you will find out the less purchase capacity, unemployment, poverty, illiteracy, or the various traditions, or so many things. Right? You those 4 5 things you can write down. So similarly, then why diarrhea? There will be lack of safe water supply or lack of hygiene, etc. And then you ask 4 times why all those things, right? You need to take a bigger drawing set and have a group of 3 or 4 the medical students and ask them to play the why game, and let's find out what they come out with, right? It will be very interesting. And the web of position will be prepared. But at the end, you will see at the top, you will see something like that, the jealousy or the Maya. Maya means the combination of aras and pramad, that is idleness and the we call it as the aras, that is idleness. The thing which you should do, you are not doing, and not done, you are doing it. Right? There is a pramad. So combination is, we call it as Maya. So, or the poverty, illiteracy, or lethargy, some basics will be there. So whether you take a malaria, whether you take a diabetes, whether you take any disease you take or any health problem, once you go on the 5th level, why? Most of the people will be almost similar. Right? Yeah, please come out. Yeah, you can ask in between, no problem. Somebody, mic is on. You wanted to speak something? No? Okay.
I know.
So similarly, so this is known as web of position. Why you need to prepare that? That after you will be able to say that this is not under your control immediately. Vitamin deficiency you may be able to control by preventing this or giving a vitamin A dose. Or measles, yes, it is probable. Yes, this is also preventable. Yes, poor diet, difficult, but it can be done. And so when you go on the 5th level, or maybe the 4th level, you can find out where if I intervene, I will get the maximum out. That kind of study you are supposed to do it. And that is the logical answer. There is other way also in comparison, right? That will probably see today itself, most of the time will permit. So now coming back to the so what. And so if there is a night blindness, so what? So you can say that if it is probably because of vitamin deficiency, there will be a lot of infection. It may be accidents will be more. There may be because it may lead to the accidents and then the poor absorption. And then also it will lead to infection, and then there will be a more the irritation, cough and cold, etc. So infection will lead to more treatment person will need. It will also lead to the loss of appetite. It will also lead to the sickness absenteeism. Accident will lead to the loss of ages, burden on the healthcare services. Then reduced absorption will lead to malnutrition. So by asking so what level 1, this is so what level 2, and now if you ask again, that will be so what level 3. So if you go 5 times, so what? Then the beautiful outcome will be there, and you will see that there are certain things which acts as a causation also, which comes out as an effect also, and sometimes you will be able to find out the cycle which is going on and on, right? For example, malnutrition coming over here may lead to poor diet, right? May lead to vitamin deficiency, or infection may lead to loss of appetite, and loss of appetite may lead to the poor diet, and then vitamin C. So that kind of positive cycles are going on. So we need to know how do we break and where do we break it. We can either if prevent the effect of it, or we can prevent the cause. And if you do it simultaneously, probably, then you will get a more effect. So maybe around 30, 40, you have, let's say, 200 students. For 5 students, you give one topic. So 20 topics are given. Take a big sets, and then try to find out which are the common factors. You go to the community, and you have 1,000 population, and you will be able to find out in this community what are the main problems. It's not only sufficient to find out these could be the problem, but what is the quantum of the problem. And that's why we are supposed to learn the relative risk, the attributable risk, and how much is attributable to a particular cause, or the particular the factor. Then based on that, the intervention should be done. And intervention can also be there, 4-5 interventions. Out of this, which intervention will be more useful? At which level you should be intervening? That is also important. So I hope that you are clear with the web of position of why and so what. I would prefer if you can share some of this your exercises in the group.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Sir, how many why and how many so what should we take? How many levels?
While 5 levels are ideal, but
Okay.
sometimes people don't reach up to 5. So we say that even 3, if you do it, that is okay, because the best is enemy of good sometimes.
Okay.
So the usual 5 level gives most of the answer. So people can go up to 7 level, 6 level, 8 level, no problem. But
Okay.
most of the time, 5 level is desired. So now I'm going to another kind of these causal factors in the attribution and also the effect. So when you have want to choice that out of 5 disease or 6 disease, which disease I should give more importance. I hope that you understand something. I don't mind there are 3 people have joined or 100 people joined, but whosoever has joined should have a clear-cut grasp on this, so that in future you can teach the thousands of students in future, and the modern leg will be benefited out of this. So another method of the selecting the which disease you should give more importance. See, we call it as a matrix. This method which I am showing you, doing this simple thing, it looks like Excel, is nothing but a matrix, right? I want to find out for which disease, how much money should be the contributed. Let's say you have a budget of 1 crore rupees to spend for the population of 1 lakh, 1 lakh, right? How will you spend as a public health specialist? Or you are a pediatrician and the budget is given to you 30 lakh rupees for your pediatric ward. Which disease or which instrument you will purchase, or that there are 10 or 15 tasks to be done, which task will be allocated, how much money, or there are various budget heads, how much it should be given. So there are you can use the matrix. Let me right now talking about the TB and the malaria and the heart disease. Then comes the, let's say, the obesity. Then comes the let's say ulcerative colitis and the asthma. You have certain. So the question could be, how much population is affected? Out of, let's say, 1 lakh population, how many TB cases, how many malaria cases, like that. Then next thing, what will the cost for the treatment? Then, if you want to prevent many cases in the society, what will be the cost of prevention? What is about the feasibility of prevention, feasibility? This score also you can say 10 means favorable. That means you should be taking the TB cases, like that. So you can take a score, or you can also write down actual numbers, because number divide the multiply by the treatment cost, the prevention cost. Sometimes you need to compare what is the treatment cost, what is the prevention cost. So the ratio between the prevention cost and the treatment cost, you need to compare. So these are the things usually we don't teach the students in preventive and social medicine. And these are the things when they become a policy maker, they may not have any idea how to talk to the about the policy making to the politicians. If not at a UG level, at least at a PG level. So PSM, the teacher should guide the PG students. Then comes the how much is the population of the public participation, community participation possible or not, whether it requires intersectoral coordination or not, whether if the whatever you do, the intervention are available or not, and those self-sustained or not. Suppose somebody gives you the 1 crore rupees today, okay, and you have planned accordingly. But what will be the next year? What will be the next year? So if you don't look at the sustainability, then there is no point. So you look at the sustainability for prevention of a particular disease. Then, by controlling this disease, will you be able to control other diseases effectively? For example, integrated vector control. By controlling the vector, you are controlling 3-4 diseases at a stretch. So this is how you can write down the which disease should get how much priority. Clear? Now, I'm not waiting for your answer, but if you have any question anytime, there is no point in going ahead without your consent, but it looks difficult in this kind of dialogue method. So now we want to compare two intervention, for example, or let's say 3 intervention. People say the vaccine is a wonderful thing. Yeah, great vaccine, wonderful thing. But let's see how do we compare. One thing is hygiene. One thing is vaccine. These are the preventive strategy. We are taking the matrix, which preventive strategy we should be going for. Then comes the nutrition. Then comes the education. Like this. And then, of course, that matrix, there's, you could say even compare this a different thing, but we want to go for the scoring system. Here, first and foremost thing is effectivity. How much effectivity is 90%, 80%, like that. Then comes the cost. Then comes whether people will follow it or not. Then comes again a sustainability. Then it will be you effective in terms of the how much money will be saved, like that, how much you are going to give a cost. Benefit means how many people will be having less disease. like that. So there can also be, do you have a available staff? Technical support is available, that kind of thing. Now in this case, suppose we take a, how much population you can cover? Population you can cover with the same amount. So, seemingly, if you compare everything together, I think the most important thing would be nutrition. Because if you go for proper vaccination, will prevent around 10 diseases, maybe 5 diseases. Cost is too much. Hygiene, good enough, but it will prevent some infectious disease. All right. Then education, literacy education, sometimes it backfires. The person is graduate, that means he has to take a Coca-Cola and Pepsi, and he has to etiquette and lots of things. If there's even semi-literate people or less literate people, maybe better health in the literacy. So literacy may not be, if I compare to this, if the nutrition is better, then instead of the literate person, the well-nourished person may be better as far as health is concerned. Right? So this all can be a dialogue, but then nutrition can prevent your 100 disease, while vaccine may prevent on 10 to 50. Only thing, well, when there is something like COVID at a mass scale, it may be difficult to change the habits of the people instantly. At that time, either you can go for the specific remedies like Ayurveda and homeopathy. If you don't want to follow that, then you can go for the vaccine. So at that time, the long term for the the effective thing may have to keep aside. But then, parallelly, we are emphasizing too much on the vaccination at the cost of the rest of the thing. At a time will come where vaccination will not be any more effective. See, sudden heart attacks or sudden death right now in youngsters, which vaccine you are going to provide? There is no vaccine. So for such NCDs, lifestyle has to be there. So when we are emphasizing too much on the antibiotics, too much on the vaccine, too much on the infection, etc., at the cost of lifestyle, this thing bound to happen. So this is how you can compare, use the matrix also. No.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
So, like, as you mentioned, that nutrition is probably the most important factor among all those listed. But isn't education also like a kind of related to nutrition and also?
So basically, the meaning of education, meaning of nutrition, we need to define, right? See, I talk education as the functional literacy. Right? So functional
Yes, sir.
literacy, you read or write or something like that. So that I'm considering this. So I may be wrong. I'm just giving arguments. Say you have 100 people who are very well educated, and 100 people we are almost not educated. But then when you go to them to give education, right? Health education, I would say nutrition education. You just experience yourself. These highly literate people will reject you outright, right? They have so much ego. And this simple, no, the less literate people will listen to you, will offer you the love and affection, and they will follow you, something like that. So it could be my personal view, but then we need to compare the community and find out which factor is more useful, right? That's why we are doing the scientific gymnastic to find out which one is good. What I'm selling is just out of the speculations, and together we are going to find out which one is more important. And sometimes individually they are not that much important, but collectively, if you go, nutrition and education, that may be far better than collective of the vaccination and hygiene or vaccination and education, something like that. So these kind of permutation and combination, that is a multivariate analysis, which sometimes you can use the logistic regression analysis and can find out. And frankly, we should admit that we are not going to be a statistician after doing this course, but basic statistics we'll be able to do it. And then we'll be able to ask the right question to the statistician that give me this kind of analysis, right? Because that day I taught you that in logistic regression, which factor is more important that you can calculate. So any other question? So I'm going ahead. I would like to talk something about the basic epidemiology, the basic Z test, test of significance, etc. I will take a break of 2 minutes. And meanwhile, I have given you the screening test file. You go through that for 2-3 minutes. I'm coming back soon. Now, we shall talk something about screening test. I've already given a full video on screening test, so I will not be spending much time. But this is just for the sake of taking a topic, because out of maybe a 30 minutes video, you'll be able to grasp much more. So, in screening, the purpose of the screening is very, very simple. Early diagnosis, and then you can treat also early. But if you are going to diagnose early, but if you're not going to treat simultaneously at the earliest, then there's no purpose of screening. Other thing, screening earlier, but then there is no lead time. That means usually patient is going to be diagnosed, and let's say after 20 days, and you're because of screening, you could diagnose just after beginning 18 days. Only 2 days lead time is there. There's no purpose because you are spending so much money, etc. So, and in screening test also, there are various 6 parameters are there: sensitivity, specificity, false positive, false negative, and positive predict value and negative predictive value. Out of this, if you want to make this thing simple, only 2 words you should change. False positive, instead of using the word false positive, if you use the word falsely labeled as positive, even though they were negative. I repeat, false positive means falsely labeled as positive, even they were negative. And instead of false negative, you use the word falsely labeled as negative, even though they were positive. So if you use this kind of full phrase, then it will be much easier for you to understand this. The 6 terms are, the first thing, you should have a gold standard if you want to compare the one test or 2 tests with each other, or one test with the gold standard. You need to have few basic parameters. let's say that the let's find out something. Anemia, simple, very simple. And in that also, we just go for anemic and no anemic, not more than that. There could be severe anemia, mild anemia, moderate anemia. So when we are using 2/2 table, it is not that only you can use 2/2 table. There can be n/n table also, even in this screening. But to make it simple, we are going like this. So anemia, yes, and anemia, no. This is a gold standard. You might use the sign methemoglobin method, and then there is another method, which is the what you say, that the Charlis method. Charlis method. So this is your test which you want to compare against the gold standard test. Test says yes, and test says no. This is a very simple method. If you remember this way, you cannot forget even if you want to forget. You start with gold standard, diagnose the number of cases, 200 yes and 100 no out of total 300. Just consider over here that gold standard detected 200 and say no, total 300. Now the sensitivity means when we say people, even if you tell something becomes very, very sensitive, people will get affected soon. So if your test is very sensitive, even if it will be able to find out, even if there is a minus, say, sign or symptom will be there, it will pick up. So sensitive test will pick up maximum number of positive cases. If it's sensitive, maximum number of positive it will find out. So let's say it has found out 180. Then we say that out of 180, that means 90% sensitivity. Right? Out of 200, 180 detected. So that is a 90% were detected with this test. So sensitivity, I'm not going to in terms of formula, etc. It is already given somewhere. Just understand. And specificity means choosy. If it is there only we detect. If it is not there, say no, not there, no. So out of 100, if this test says no, out of 100, it can, let's say, around 70. That means 70% it could detect. So there is a 70% is a specificity. Out of 100, it could detect 70. It could say that 70 people are not having. That is a revert detection. So denying that if you are not there, it will say yes, you are not there. So this is a specificity. This is a sensitivity. Now, this is also known as true positive. This is also known as true negative. Now comes the other words, false positive and false negative. Very simple. I say falsely labeled as positive even though they were negative. Here is the label of positive. Here is the total number of negative. Out of 100, 30 were labeled as positive by this test. 30 were labeled as positive by this test, even though they were negative. So this is known as false positive. Falsely labeled as positive is a false positive. Huh? Now, 200 people were positive, but by this test, the 20 people will say, no, you don't have the disease. So falsely labeled as negative, even though they were positive. So that's why this sensitivity and false negative leads to 100%. Specificity and false positive leads to 100%. That's why we say that if a specificity is more, false positive will be less. If sensitivity is more, false negative will be less. This is how we understand And if you look at the video once or twice, it will be very clear. You will never forget. Now, the positive predictive value and negative predictive value. For that, what we need to understand is total are 210. Total were 210. And here the total were 90. Sometimes we say this fellow is not speaking true. Gappa Maharaj, right? So how far the taste is truly is true? So positive predictive means if a taste says you are positive, what is the likelihood that it is really positive? That is a positive predictive value. If taste says you are positive, out of 210, only 180 are positive. That means out of 210, only 180 positive. Then likelihood that out of 100, how many will be positive? That is the positive predictive value of a test. Similarly, negative predictive value, out of 90 who are negative, what is the likelihood that they are really negative? So 70. So out of 90, 70 are really negative. What will be out of 100? That you find out the percentage. This is a 6 parameter of the sensitivity and specificity. Here also, you can also find out if this is one test, but there is a second test, third test, fourth test. Between two tests, also you can try to find out the standard of proportion that can be applied over here with a specific method. And also, just by changing cutoff line, same test, by changing a cutoff line, reading in the borderline or the definition, you change a little bit, and you can increase the sensitivity, increase the specificity, you can decrease that. That is possible. And we'll take that one example, and that is very, very useful because hardly few people understand that the same the tool you can use. Emma, anywhere poster છે? હરીત, anywhere નું poster છે કે? મમ્મીને પૂછને ક્યાંય હોય તો. આની અંદર કબાટ પર નીચે છે જો. પેલા કબાટમાં પાછળ જે કબાટ છે એમાં નીચે એકાદું કદાચ રડ્યું પડ્યું હશે. So here what I'm going to demonstrate you that how changing the borderline we can change the sensitivity, specificity, etc. Whether it's a sugar level, whether it's a blood pressure level, whether it's a hemoglobin level, or any parameter. So, so I'll show you one poster. This is the anemia detection poster. Can you see this?
No, sir.
No?
No.
I think it should be visible. There is something like you can see that my face is hidden.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So there is some poster in
Yes.
So there
The
is
pale,
there is one
yes.
mirror in between, and there are surrounding pictures.
Yes.
Now, when I found this anemia detection poster, more than 1 lakh tools are already in the market. So most of the scientists and the doctors and super specialists and advisors and consultants, they ridicule this poster. कि ये scientific नहीं है, वो नहीं है, वगैरह वगैरह. But then they ridicule this poster. They don't say it's scientific because they don't understand what is sensitivity and what is specificity. Now you try to see that there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? 1 and 2 are bright. 3 and 4 less hemoglobin, 4 and 5 still less, and 7 and 8 severe anemia. Okay, so keep this post in mind. And now let's see how we can use simple tool to detect anemia with a high level of specificity and sensitivity, same tool, right? So, and because of a lack of a knowledge of statistics, lack of knowledge of epidemiology, crores of rupees we are wasting. This is my 21st, I say 21st because, but I have taken thousands of lectures on statistics. I would say thousands because each batch you take 10, 20, 30 and so many places, right? And so many projects, but failing understanding. Now, see, in this case, what happens? That there are only 8 pictures. There's 8 number, 7 number, 6 number, 5 number, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, there's a mirror inside. And when we compare the concordance between two observations, intern doctors and patients themselves, and we compare with the hemoglobin level, surprisingly, the observation of patients who are illiterate, who are not trained, was much, much better than the intern's judgment. You know why? Because the patient himself or herself has more attachment to diagnose themselves rather than the interns who are just casually looking at yes, anemia, no anemia like that. So we need to give a power with the people so that they can keep their health in a better way. Now, in the committee, let's say I have 2 tests. One test is more specific and another test is more sensitive. In committee of 10,000 people, I want to go with one test which is highly sensitive, another highly specific. For timing, let's say the cost is same for both the tests, right? Which test you will choose in the committee? I will not move without your answer.
The scoring system, that 1 to 8, which looks pale, which looks bright.
You forget this chart right now.
Okay.
Just tell me, in a committee, you want to detect the number of the cases, right? And you are going with the screening test. Which test will be using? Highly sensitive or highly specific?
So highly sensitive test, sir.
Highly sensitive.
Everybody agrees.
Means we want to know what are the true values.
So when you go to the mass scale mass survey, first you need to apply a highly sensitive test, provided it is cheaper. So if both tests are in the same money, go for highly sensitive test, find out maximum positive, and in that population, positive population, then you apply second test, which is highly specific. And then the borderline you may keep under observation. Highly specific tests, you are tested, you have found out that the people are suffering, you treat them. So go for the highly sensitive first, and out of the all detected, before you start the treatment, go for highly specific test. Now I will tell you how do we do with the same the instrument just by changing the borderline without doing the second test. So what do we do in this case? Very simple. You are going to the committee. What do? You tell, you need not communicate to the patient. You just say that we want to find out whether you're anemic or not, and then we'll confirm and we will then tell you the result. Otherwise, there could be a problem. So all the 3 to 8, diagnose them as a anemia. So hardly you will leave any person who is an anemia and not detected, even with this instrument. But then, before you start a treatment, what do? The same test, you call it a highly specific test with detection. I'm just changing the borderline. 7 and 8, tell them highly specific. Same test, you are not doing twice. So changing the borderline. So the rest of the people, 3, 4, 5, 6, they are the borderline. And without giving treatment, give a dietary advice to 5 and 6, or might just small dose of a tablets, and 3 and 4 give a dietary advice, and then follow the up after a few months, maybe after 1 month or so, and find out whether they have gone to 6 or they have gone to over here like this. The same test. So whether it's a blood pressure or hemoglobin or let's say diabetes, wherever you go, whenever you want to do a test in the committee, just change your borderline and recruit more and more people during your screening. And just before you start a treatment, do a highly specific test, but just by changing your borderline, and then start a treatment. Don't give treatment to everyone without applying the highly specific test. And don't declare them they are suffering from disease till you apply your highly specific test. This is how the same test you can use twice. And if you use this tool in this way, highly sensitive, highly specific, same test, and then you will be able to find out borderline, follow them up, and you will be able to do wonder. And this can be done by self or even by the workers. So if there's no question, we shall now go to the 5 types of Z, just a small revision that which test is to be applied when, because there are 5 types of Z tests. Any question on screening specificity? I hope that you will go through the video tomorrow, and then you may come out with a question on Wednesday. So we are talking about the 5 types of Z, which we talked about. Now, when using a test of significance, what will happen that there are various levels of comparison. Now, usually in your whenever you take a project, we expect you to use all kinds of possibilities. First is your variable could be of 2 types. If you take a weight, you take a height, where you can find out a mean, right? Variables from where you kind of find out the mean. And the variable where is something like yes and no, black and white, diabetic, no diabetic, right? Caste, religion, like this, where you can find out the proportion. So if you can find out which kind of variable is there, then your 50% work done. Agreed? Then you need to compare. Why using status 6? You want to compare between 2 things, or one is within this group or not, or which group is more powerful, like that. So if you want to compare one individual with a population, whether this person belongs to the population or not, at that time you use the standard deviation in terms of how many standard deviation away. So that standard deviation, once you measure the standard deviation, then you'd find out how much it is away. So here, when you use the Z equals to, there will be a population, the population mean will be there, or sample mean will be there, and you need to find out difference between the mean of that group and divide it by standard deviation. So we will come to know that how many standard deviation away. If Z is more than 2, P is less than 0.05, and you will say that the person usually do not belong to this group. A person does not belong to the group, or less likely that the person belongs to the group. But in this case, proportion, usually we don't use a Z over here, comparing individual with a population. But now, when based on one sample, you want to talk about the population, I will be finishing next 3-4 minutes. When you want to compare sample with a population, and you have 10 or 20 people, 40 people, 50 people, you want to talk about 500 people, and you want to find out the population mean, or you want to find out whether the sample belongs to the population or not. At that time, Z is equal to population mean minus sample mean upon standard error of mean. While in case of proportion, if let's say there are 10,000 population, you have sample of 200 people. Out of 200 people, maybe 30% were suffering from the malaria, and you want to find out what will be the in total population. So that also you can use by standard, but other way around. Population were having 30% poor people were there, and the opposite party found out 50% poor in a sample. So whether the sample belongs to the population or not, whether it's a representative or not, if you want to find out that, the Z used will be population proportion minus sample proportion divided by standard error of proportion. But if you want to compare two samples, whether these two samples hemoglobin level is the less or what, is significantly different or not, or whether the percentage expenditure is significantly different or not, or recovery rate number of days is with this and that regimen is significantly different or not. If you want to compare that, then Z is equal to x1 bar minus x2 bar divided by standard error of difference between two mean. In this case, you have two groups, for example, ward A and ward B. Recovery rate, if you want to find out, then Z is equal to P1 minus P2 divided by standard of difference between two mean. So such phi Z will be with you. For each standard error, there is a different formula which is already given in the books and so many people. And sometimes if you want to interest in the standard formula, it's very simple. So, and if you're three or more simple, in this case, two or more simple, when we use the word mean, what is the thing that if your sample size is less than 30, then you will be going for t-test. If sample size is more than 30, then you will go for z-test. But if three or more samples or three or more population you want to compare, then here there will be a f-test, and here there will be chi-square test. And if sample size is less than 30, then we have some other tests which I have shared the files with you. And if time permits, in our fifth session, we'll be going for the non-parametric test, or we may go for the cross-section study, core study, etc. And sixth session, we may go for the non-parametric test probably. That will be better after Diwali. So on Wednesday 8th, we'll have a session. We'll have a Diwali break. And then another 5 sessions will be taken after Diwali. But meanwhile, you should try to start writing your project proposal. I have shared files with you. The problem solving for better is very interesting, and you can share with your UG students. And tomorrow mostly I will be sharing your platform of education platform, in which you will be able to access a file on a one website. So you did not see your the WhatsApp every time that what is there. Total course will be gradually kept on our website education platform, and mostly will be sharing to you. You just get registered on that, and you will start having access to it. So my session is over today, and I would like a quick suggestion, not only for the content, but this method of writing. Is it possible for you to follow?
So,
Yeah.
I think PPT was better, sir.
PPT was, and this write-up is not better. This is because I want to have feedback. Because PPT, I cannot. Just a minute. What happens with the PPT, that the explanation part is very difficult, particularly when I want to compare and draw. See, if I have a ready-made PPT of everything, but then your mind will not be able to move with what I'm doing. That's the reason. The blackboard will be still better, but then anyway, any other opinion?
Yes, for me, what you write is really good because you go
You
step by
unmute
step.
your mouth. Unmute
Yeah.
your. We can't listen.
No, I'm unmuted only, sir.
Yes.
Can you hear? Can you hear now, sir?
Can anyone listen to that? What's this talking about?
Yes, sir, I can hear.
Hello.
So any other feedback?
Hello, can you hear, sir? Now?
Now I can hear. Yes.
Yeah. No, sir, your writing is good because we go step by step. What you explain us, then that goes in the mind. Otherwise, that PPT, everything comes and we don't know what to do.
So PPT anyway, I'm going to share, right?
Yeah. So this
So-
is right, sir. What you are writing and explaining is right. What I
Okay,
think.
so your feedback are important, and we'll share on Wednesday. We'll be moving further. Any other quick question?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay, bye.